The book of Ezekiel, chapter 14, beginning at verse 13. It reads, Son of man, when the land sinneth against me by trespassing grievously, then will I stretch out my hand upon it, and will break the staff of bread thereof, and will send famine upon it, and and will cut off man and beast from it. I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to Call Loyam, La Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem, Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, for whom subscribe to this truth. To you I say shalom. This is Brother Yahweh Sop out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit, through the power of Yahweh, through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And basically coming across another article talking about this upcoming famine, because, I saw on my Newsbreak app, I forgot what publication came out of, but it wasn't just one publication, it was multiple publications where you had they said the world, not just United States, not just certain countries, but the world is like basically down to 10 weeks of wheat. And I was listening to the elder Amawan Bar, and he was going into, when you go into bread, bread, wheat, wheat is used to make your bread. So, I believe he came out with that same scripture. So, that's the spirit, and that's how we know we live in biblical times, biblical prophecy, because that's a prophecy, and we're experiencing it right now. And, this thing, this is the year of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, turn it up, the elder being the spirit. God. Call lawyer, La Yahweh Shem Yahshua. Exciting times. And I was listening to the elder because he was going into, the Lord about to do a lot of judgment on these fucking heathen, 2/3 of our people that's just wicked. It's all get out, man, and it's crazy because he did a video today and I just experienced something with my demon. I mean, like, wow, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm done, At the end of the day, the Lord set something up where, at first I used to try and show mercy, and if it's the Lord's will, my prayer be answered, because, we supposed to curse our enemies. Bless those that bless us and curse those that curse us, you know what I mean? So with that being said, Salakia for the digression, this article reads, with food prices continuing to climb, the UN is warning of crippling global shortages. So this is going to the United Nations. So that's how you know how serious this is. But you got majority of our people so dumbed down and asleep, they don't even understand the severity of it. When you got the United Nations speaking about this, why do you think that they just had that meeting on the Shabbat where basically they're like giving over the health, the control of the enforcement of those health mandates to the UN? This is global governance. And you about to see it. Don't be surprised if we don't see no soldiers in blue helmets pretty soon. I can see them letting the summer be all chaotic and, after those food riots and whatnot, because people going to flip the fuck out when they can't feed their kids, and rightfully so. So this is WEKU. It says, fears of a global food crisis are growing due to the shock of the war in Ukraine, which they keep on using as a scapegoat, climate change, and rising inflation. Last week, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned of the specter of the global food shortage in the coming months without urgent international action. The UN estimates that in the past year, global food prices have risen by almost 1/3, fertilizer by more than half, and oil prices by almost 2/3. According to UN figures, the number of Salakia. I'm tired, lightweight. There's a chair right there. That's a spirit. I'm going to sit in this chair. It says the number of severely food insecure people has doubled in the past few years from 135 million pre-pandemic to 276 million today. And now, when you go into that, the population, I don't know if this is worldwide or what, but the population of America is only, what, I want to say, population of America is only 330, so this might be worldwide. But nonetheless, that's a significant number with billions of people, you know what I mean, with all these resources, but showing you how the resources are being tightened upon, because when you go to Agenda 2030, they're going to control, track everything, you know. It says in Ethiopia, Somalia, yeah, so this had to be worldwide. Kenya, the number of people facing extreme hunger has more than doubled since last year, from roughly 10 million to more than 23 million today. According to the report, across the 3 countries, the report notes one person is likely dying every 48 seconds from acute hunger-related causes stemming from armed conflict, CV-19, climate change, and inflationary pressures worsened by the war in Ukraine. In India, a devastating heat wave has upset the nation's wheat harvest, driving up prices around the world for the staple commodity. And that's why they're saying that basically the wheat is going to run out. I forgot, I just really did a video about this too, because I forgot India is like the second biggest exporter besides Russia and Ukraine, because that region over there where Russia and Ukraine is located, that's considered the breadbasket of the world. And then India was supposed to be the second biggest, but India basically said they weren't going to be exporting any more wheat like that, and that's why you're going to have this supposed to be shortage of wheat, because if they can't afford to like service everybody else's wheat needs and then still sustain their own. It says early this month, as temperatures in the capital of Delhi hovered near 120 degrees Fahrenheit, the government announced a ban on wheat exports. That's a spirit. The announcement helped push wheat prices to record levels. Wheat prices were already hit hard by the war in Ukraine. Ukraine and Russia are some of the world's biggest wheat producers, combining to produce around 25% of global supply. Global wheat prices surged in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. They had already risen an estimated 80% in just over a year before December 2021. And the thing is, that's showing you another thing about the GMOs, because America, you know, you go to Aldi's and you still buy bread, and the bread was still fairly cheap. You know, you can get a loaf of bread for, I think, like under $1 or $1.15 or something, $1.20. That's not real wheat. You get what I'm saying? That's GMO. You know, real wheat bread is going to be half of that container of bread, and it's gonna be like $5. So if they saying that it has risen, you probably gonna pay $10 for an actual loaf of real wheat bread. International shocks have brought some countries into near breakdown. In Sierra Leone, rising inflation has led to a wholesale economic emergency with extreme shortages of food, medicine, and fuel. Right, and they saying that basically the citizens is like going like bananas and like fucking up the politicians and everything. Humanitarian agencies have warned that Afghanistan has been close to famine for months, while Lebanon has been in an economic crisis for over a year. And that's the spirit. This is a very great article, and I'm glad I did read it through the spirit, because it's a lot of news sites that's not going into, you know, you got turmoil all around the world. And it talks about that when you know, matter of fact, let me get there. Matthew, one that a lot of the brothers have been bringing out lately, because this is prophetic. This is we reading and living Matthew 24 right now. And you know, when you see the red letters, that's Yahweh Shah speaking. And this is when he was speaking to his disciples about basically when the end of the world or the end of the age was going to come. And he says, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. You got basically the whole thing in the news right now where they're talking about Biden basically warning China if they threaten Taiwan, it literally is going to be war. But, you know, it was other countries that they, you know, America's basically have been in cahoots with. I think Afghanistan, or yeah, I believe it was Afghanistan, when they pulled out of there and just left them people to themselves, and you know the Taliban took back over. I believe they supposed to be in cahoots with Ukraine. Look what they did. They didn't put no boots on the ground though. I mean, they doing like a silent, like a covert, like type of operation. But he said basically they're gonna put boots on the ground if China try to do anything. Well, all we can do is wait and see. But that's rumors of wars. Wars and rumors of wars because you got wars with Ukraine and Russia, or Russia and Ukraine. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. 24:7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So you beginning to see the birth pains of the end, and right before the woman gives birth, she is in her most pain. They say birth is the most painful experience that anybody can actually supposed to be able to partake in, and live. And being that we are being birthed to, we're watching the end of Esau's kingdom and the birth of ours. Of course, we're gonna go through trials and tribulations. It's going to be painful. That's why in the book of Acts, chapter 14, it talks about through much tribulation, we shall inherit the kingdom. I'll read a little bit more. In the U.S., consumer prices in April were up 83% from a year earlier, according to data from the Labor Department. Food costs were up 99.4%, with prices for things like meats, poultry, fish, and eggs up 14.3% from the previous year. In March, around 65% of the 200 food banks in the Feeding America network, the nation's largest food recovery organization, reported a greater demand for assistance month on month. In China, prices of fresh vegetables are 24% higher than a year ago, according to data released from the country's National Bureau of Statistics. China's zero CV policy has meant an economic slowdown and added to inflation around the world and global supply chain issues. The UN Guterres has urged a five-step plan to help confront the challenges: increasing supplies of food and fertilizers, social protection systems within countries, more access to international finance, further government help for smallholder food producers, and better funding for humanitarian operations to reduce famine and hunger. What the scriptures talk about is going to be famine. So all these ideas and, these things that these people call themselves coming up with, aren't going to benefit, aren't going to help, even if they were to implement a lot of this stuff or those five things. And I don't believe that would help. I don't think even if they implemented it would help. But the scriptures tell you that it's going to be famine. And I'm going to get a scripture. It's the book of Psalms 105. Psalms 105 and verse 16, it says, moreover, he called for a famine upon the land, he break the whole staff of bread. And who's this talking about? He who breaks this staff of bread, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You go in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 4, point is verse 16. It talks about, moreover, he said unto me, son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care. So basically, people going to try and ration out their food, but it's going to get to the point where basically ain't going to be no food, and that's what's going to lead up into Second Ezra chapter 16. Well, Second Ezra chapter 15, which I'm going to get after I get this. Back in verse 16, Ezekiel 4 and 16, it says, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment, because they're going to try and ration it out. But again, it's not going to work out like that, because it's going to, it's going to get to the point, people are going to start, you already doing that in California, people, following people home from the grocery store, taking their food, robbing them. And that's going to come to the, pretty much a lot of different cities in the country, to the point where, it's going to be so chaotic out here. Edom is going to have to intervene. This is the book of Second Ezra chapter 15. Point is verse 18. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. It's going to be very chaotic out here. It talks about because iniquity shall abound, meaning the sinfulness, the transgressions, the iniquities, the sin upon sin, the love of many shall wax cold. There's going to be a lot of violence out here. So that's why men going to be afraid. And not just men, women, but if the men ain't going to be afraid, how much more so the women? Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. In the modern day sword is the gun, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So they're going to go into these people's homes. Like they going into stores right now. People ain't blind to this shit. You go to some local, depending on where the grocery store located at, especially like in Jake neighborhoods, you know, you got, they breaking into these stores. You know what I mean? I was just at the library today, and they broke into the library. For what reason, I have no idea, but it make you question too, because sometimes I've seen librarian security, like the library security actually own pistols, like actually armed. Fuck you need pistol for working at the library. So who's to say, you know what I mean? I don't know. You know, anyhow, you know, during the pandemic, you had a few Jays get caught up trying to break into certain grocery stores. I remember that. I think one Jake died. And, you know, right now it's just happening in the inner city where Jake dwelled. But eventually when the food gets so bad, what's going to happen? Jake going to start basically traveling to Edomite neighborhoods. You know, and desperation calls and has people do things that they normally wouldn't do. You know what I mean? It says, so that's the point, you know. I could have got Ezekiel, but I mean, I proved my point, you know. With evil times is coming, you know. And when you go into the word evil, Eve meaning times, and ill meaning bad. So bad times, evil. So if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, only way to, you know, seek safety and protection, you know, is to come back to the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. You know, it tells you, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. That's you're going to be your protection. It talks about in the book of Proverbs about how the name of the Most High is a strong tower and the righteous cleaveth onto it or runneth to it. I can't remember how, you know, roughly paraphrase. But, you know, that's why it talks about wisdom and knowledge to be the stability of thy times, because, you know, this wisdom and this knowledge, because we are aware, and if you're aware of something, you have a better chance of dealing with it. A lot of people ain't going to understand what the fuck going on. Like right now, they talking about 10 weeks of wheat. You know, there's some people just getting hit, though, like people stealing generators right now. I plan on, as soon as I pay my rent, to go get one immediately if I get this money, Lord willing, you know. But with that all being said, Lord willingly, this was edifying. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to, well, first and foremost, I want to say, if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, commandments of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. And with that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Loyim La Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Bashem Rachak. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwath and the Yakim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth to you. I say shalom. Until next time I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom. Bawath lababal, shalom.